Have you read the title? Because that's what we're talking about today. I know. What have I put myself into? I don't know why a lot of topics have become suddenly like sort of controversial to talk about while they're not supposed to be. But let me start with this. I am not qualified to tell you what's haram and what's halal. There are qualified people to do so. I'm just here to give you my opinion, my experience, and you can do it whatever you wish. You can throw it into a garbage can, put it under your pillow, feed it to your cat. The options are limitless. And with that being said, let's get into the video. I'm going to start with something. It is related, okay? Don't be impatient. Do you remember when we were kids and we first started praying? And I'm not saying this is the experience for everyone, but for me at least, and I know that a lot of people went through this. When we first started praying, we would, or at least I would, pray one day and then nos the other day, and then I pray for a week and then I stop and go back to it again, and then I miss few prayers during the day and so on. And when I grew older, and I thought about it, I realized that the reason why that happened is because I did not have the understanding to why do I pray? Why do we have to pray? And the adults surrounding me, may Allah bless them, I think that they all did the best that they knew. And, you know, some of them were on the tougher side and they would tell us, if you don't pray, Allah is going to be mad at you and He's going to punish you, blah, 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 blah. And then some others were on the softer side and they would say, if you pray, Allah will love you and He will give you whatever you wish. But the problem is, who is this Allah you're talking about? You tell us that He is the Creator, you tell us amazing things about Him and all that, but you cannot love something that you don't know. I will say it again. You cannot love something that you don't know. And until I knew Allah and His names and His attributes, then and only then was I able to obey Him. Because we're talking here about obedience, and it's hard to obey if you do not know. And years later, I did understand why. So I would pray to please Allah. And then the more I understand, the more I realize that, you know, getting the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is amazing. You know, who are we kidding? But then Allah does not need us to pray for Him. We need Him. We need to pray for Him because we are the poor ones. And why did I touch this subject? Is because when I was around 14, 15 years old, I'm sorry, I feel bad just saying this, but I was a huge K-pop fan. I was one of those fans that would wait for an album, stay up the night until the album comes out, and I would listen to the songs and I know. But anyway, I used to listen to music a lot. And the topic of listening to music was never really discussed at my household. And not that I grew up surrounded by adults that were listening to music. My parents never listened to music. Like, I've never seen them, like, you know, just have their phones and put this music and listen to it. But it never really was discussed. So I never really thought that there's something like really wrong with it. And the first time that I had this thought that maybe this is wrong is when one day one of our relatives and my mother went to this wedding, and there was this one woman that we knew of. So we were not related to her in any way or form, but we knew of this woman. And we were told that at the end of the wedding, she collapsed and she was rushed to the hospital. And there she was announced dead. And then when we asked about her, like, what happened? Was she sick? What was the problem? This is what we always do kind of when somebody passes away. And the people that were there told us that, alongside my mother, told us that she was dancing all night and then she suddenly collapsed. And even when you're like around 14, you're old enough to understand that when these people say this, they were kind of sad, for a lack of better word. And I'm not talking about this woman, she was also Muslim, Allah yarhamha. We don't know how she lived, what she went through, we don't know anything, okay? But if you think about it, or at least that was my thought, I wouldn't want my last thing on this earth to be dancing to music. That sounds awful, okay? That sounds awful. And that was the first time that this thought hit me. And I went and did my research, and everywhere I just read that, it's haram, don't do it, don't listen to music, this is why, blah, 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 blah. And I was so desperate because I was so used to listening to music that I was trying so hard to find this one scholar from this certain place, I don't know, that tells me it's actually okay to listen to music. So I would just be like, okay, well, this one scholar says that it's okay, so I'm just following this one scholar and that's it. That's how desperate I was. And the fact that I was not yet blessed with the power of not caring at all, it was harder for me. So, I cared what my peers thought, and, I wanted to be relevant and all that. Wow. But anyway, it made it much worse. It made it much, much worse. So for a while, all I was doing was trying to forget and trying to find someone, this one person that tells me that it's actually okay to listen to music. There's nothing wrong with it. And for a long while, that was the case. That just was the case. But as time went by, slowly, I just started accepting the facts that maybe it's wrong. And, imagine if you built something, okay? You built this machine, and then you tell people that this one specific screw, or I don't know, this one specific oil makes it work smoothly. And this is what you should use, or else it's not going to work well. And then this one other person comes to you and tells you, no, I don't like this oil, or I don't like this screw. I'm going to use something else because that's what I want. And you tell him, but I created it. I know what works best. And this is the same with, I think, with Allah. So if He tells us that something is bad for us, He is our creator. And we don't know ourselves that much, or at least we don't know ourselves as much as Allah knows us, because He created us. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't question things or, be curious. Quite the contrary, we should question things. And unless they make sense to us, we're not supposed to just accept them. So when I started accepting the fact, only then that I started feeling the positives, or I would say the blessings of not listening to music. And the first thing that I noticed is that I was living. It might sound like I'm exaggerating, but hear me out. So I did a lot of day-to-day tasks while listening to music. So if I am cleaning, I have my headphones on and I'm listening to music. If I am working out, I'm listening to music. If I am, writing, drawing, I am listening to music. Sometimes even when I am studying, I am listening to music. So when I stopped the music, when the music stopped, I was just in the moment. and my head got clearer, and I was okay with my thoughts. Because when we listen to music, we're always thinking about something, some place, some person, and we're just not present. We're just not. And that's a problem. Everywhere we go, there's music playing. It's like we cannot stay in silence for a certain amount of time. And I'm not saying that you should run away from music wherever it is. I'm just one of you guys. I go to the gym, there's music playing. I may go to a restaurant, there's music playing. I will go to a mall and there's music playing in the shops. So the point is, I am not actively going to my phone specifically to listen to music. I have no music at all on my phone or on my devices, and it feels amazing. And by the age of around 16, 17, I just stopped listening to it. I did not listen to it for a long time now. And here's one other thing that really, really helped. If you leave something for the sake of Allah, He will give you something much better. And if there is a promise that won't be broken, is the promise of Allah. So if I tell you, give me your laptop, and after a few days, I will give you something that is much, much better, or I will give you a laptop that is much, much better than you have now. You'll be like, yeah, it's okay. I can sit without my laptops for a couple of days, and I will get something better. And that's the same thing. So just remind yourself, if you're thinking about quitting music or at least reducing it, just remember this fact, that if you hold yourself, because I know it's sometimes hard. I went through it myself. So just remember the fact that you will get something better. You will receive something better. You will be compensated. I mean, how great Allah is. I don't know if you guys have thought about this. Can you sit with yourself, with your thought for, I don't know, for hours, for example? Because we live in a world that is full of noise. It's full of noise. If you're not listening to music, then there's social media. We are hyper-stimulated. We are just overstimulated with everything. Dopamine is given to us like crazy. And so what I would advise anyone, and I'm not telling you to go ahead, quit music, blah, 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 but at least try. And that's the thing that happened. When I started praying regularly, I've seen the benefits, right? And so I've seen my life with and without praying. And now I've had the experience, I've seen my life with listening to music and without listening to music. So at least if you have some doubts, or if you want to give it a try, at least experience it and then judge for yourself, because you will never know if you never try. So just give it a shot. This is all I wanted to say for today. I'm not going to take so much from your time. I have some other topics that I want to discuss, such as, men and women are the same. Spoiler alert, they're not. And also, something that I've been thinking about for quite a while now. Algerian weddings. And I say Algerian weddings because I am Algerian, so I don't think I'm entitled to talk about other weddings, even though I know that we are, like, Arab countries are similar in a lot of ways. But I will talk about Algerian weddings specifically, okay? Because I think they're crazy. I'm sorry. So what do you think? What should we tackle next? Because I think we should talk about these things. Throwing my opinion out there is, it's fine. It's for everyone. If you're Muslim, you're non-Muslim, you're welcome. It's for everyone. If you have a different opinion, you're also welcome. Just be respectful, please, in the comment section. It's not like I'm going to blow up tomorrow, but I don't have that many people commenting. But anyway, please be respectful. That's all I'm asking, okay? Thank you so much for listening and for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one, inshallah. Salam.